No, I'm sorry.
No, I don't want
You're good.
to get an original copy of the sheriff's deed.
What?
The sheriff's deed. I'd like to get an actual copy of that. I was told by an attorney I have to see on Wednesday.
You can check with records.
That.
No, I think we're on the right side there, the right counter, see if they may have a copy of it. They may send you over to civil too, I'm not sure.
All right, I'll check over here. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, yesterday was a nice day. Today's a good day.
Yeah, I'm trying to obtain an original copy of a sheriff's deed.
A what?
Sheriff's deed? Like to a property?
I don't know what this is.
Never like to transfer a deed out of someone's name into someone else.
Check with the information window, I'm not sure.
He did, told me to come over here. Nice.
Let me ask records and see. What are you trying to get?
I'm trying to get an original copy of that deed right there. That's a photocopy. I'm trying to.
This is a deed, wouldn't it be through?
Well, it's done. It's the sheriff's deed. It says.
I don't know, I'll ask records.
Thank you.
Things you have to put in here, you gotta put the weight.
Oh, okay. It's great now. That's original brown. So how do you answer that? I think it's the brown or something. Does it say? It's original.
Whatever, it's right.
Yeah. I think there was another form I did that gave you actual pictures. It said gray or purple.
Is this you?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi there. This is something that we have here. Was it filed with the county clerk's office?
It says it was, but there's some major issues with it. That's why I was
Okay.
told by an attorney to come here and get a copy of the actual deed that was signed because I believe that to be
We
fraudulent.
wouldn't have the actual deed. That would be on file with the county clerk's office next door. That would be your best bet, is to check with them.
Right. Well, there should be a copy of that because it was the sheriff's deed. There should be a copy on record here, I was told.
This isn't something we have here in records. My
Is
guess.
Is there any way I could speak with the sheriff that signed that? Because I'm told this is fraud. It's a fraudulent deed.
I doubt it. You'd have to check with the information desk that you're looking to speak with the sheriff.
He told me to go over to the other window and see if they may have a copy too over in
no.
civil.
Your best bet would be the clerk's office.
Well, I went there.
The county clerk's office?
Yeah, and all they have is a photocopy. They have one just like this on record
Oh, and where did they get their copies from?
from my ex-wife's attorney.
Oh.
She. There's no original deed on file there. This is what's on file. And then when I got served another one, this is the tricky part. I got served.
Because also whoever, Lisa Dell, who notarized this, she's now our civil chief.
Right.
So you could always ask to speak to her, because she was the.
Well, here's the problem: is this was stamped in the sheriff's department in December of '23, and this deed wasn't produced until the 5th day. And then this one doesn't have the stamp on it. And then they crossed out. They made a mistake with the date, and they spelled the prior owner's name wrong.
Yeah, that's nothing that we generate here in records.
Would this thing wouldn't be generated here, sheriff's deed?
No. That'd probably be a civil thing, but probably your best bet would be to see if you can get a hold of Chief Dell.
I'll check
I mean,
over
it's
with
her
them.
but she would have the most knowledge of how this
Well,
all
it looks like they just put this bottom part onto a falsified document, so that's why I wanted to talk to someone.
Yeah.
But I'll go over there and check it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to obtain an original copy of this deed.
Original copy
Yeah, it apparently was signed on the January 5th by the sheriff.
and
I have to see an attorney in a couple of days, and I believe this document is fraudulent.
I believe you have to subpoena us for those records.
It should be public record. I was told they were public record.
Public.
Well, it's my
And you
it's my
would go to
property.
the county clerk and.
I did, and they gave me this one. I'm trying to obtain the original document that was signed here by the sheriff's department. It was signed by the sheriff, and there's some inconsistencies between the one that the clerk has and the one that I was served with. There's no stamp on this one. They crossed out the date. They have the prior owner's name spelled wrong. The date on the sheriff's deed here is actually stamped December 20th of 2023, and the deed wasn't produced until the 5th day of January of 2024. It's photoshopped, or it's
Yeah,
crooked.
we would not have those records now. If we do have an original, it would be with our records department, and then they would have to be subpoenaed.
Okay, they just told me that they didn't hold these records. I'm just confused. I was told by an attorney that I have to see it. I
Let me
should,
get the,
if you don't mind, thank you.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I'm looking for an original copy of this deed. Deputy Kelly?
Well, we don't have the original, because the original is what would have been completed, and that would return to the attorney, whoever issued it.
Would you have a copy of this on file in your?
We can't give it out though.
Could you check for me? Because I have to go see an attorney, and I was told to come down here. I believe this to be fraudulent. I'm going to show you a couple of reasons why.
Okay.
This document was apparently signed by the sheriff. It was stamped December 23rd, the 20th, 2023. I'm sorry. The deed wasn't produced until the 5th of January of 24. It's been altered. Clearly, the one the clerk's office has says it's 2031, and they spelled the prior owners of my name wrong. Her name is Janelle, and I have the actual deed from Vanguard Title Company, but they spell her name Janek. They didn't correct that here. I brought this to my ex-wife's attorney.
Okay.
They made a hand correction here. This one is filed. It's shrunk down, but it appears that what they did is they filed a Photoshop small shrunk down copy in the clerk's office, but this one doesn't have the stamp on it. There's a lot of problems with this, so I have to go see an attorney tomorrow.
Okay.
And they said, you should stop down to the sheriff's department and validate that this is a true document, because it looks like the bottom was photoshopped on. You see how this stamp is small and this stamp is big?
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't have. You'd have to. Unfortunately, I know it's kind of a pain, but you'd have to get a subpoena to records, because we can't just give out documents. So, do you know who the attorney? Oh, it's right here.
Yeah.
The attorney for it.
Well,
Did you contact them at all?
I did. I asked for it in court because they're evicting me from my own house. They're trying to evict me from my own house. I fired my attorney in 2022, and they had a whole divorce without me, and I get stuff in the mail telling me I got to go to eviction court in Baldwinsville. The mortgage is in my name, and I was told by an attorney that if the deed was taken out of my name, in fact, this right here says that you guys took the house away from me.
Yep. Yeah, it's for a sheriff's deed.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, any
but there's no
any challenges to it, unfortunately, because he's the one who issued it, you'd have to go through Attorney Robertson.
I did, and he won't. I went before the judge and everything, and I'm saying this document is fraudulent. I don't believe it's accurate. I want to see a real one. And I spoke with an attorney. I explained that I went before the judge. She gave me 3 weeks to get out of my own house. I just got off the phone with my mortgage company. I've been in contact with them. They said the deed is in your name. This is your house. The taxes are in your name. The water bills, everything's in your name. This makes no sense to us. And they advised me to go to see the sheriff's too, because this is where the deed apparently originated from. Can you validate that this is an actual deed that was? I mean, you don't have to give me a copy of it.
I think it's. This is all together. Let me just try to see if we have.
I believe it to be fraudulent, to be honest with you. I don't believe that that was really even done here. And if I'm wrong, that's fine. If you can just verify that.
Trent, did you also too? The clerk's office may have that on file. Oh, this is what you got from the clerk.
I got the one from the clerk, and there's been you see that in between the one that I was served and the one that's on file at the clerk's office, this one here is missing this stamp, and they've crossed out the date on there because they made a mistake. Said I bought the house in 2031.
23, right?
What's that?
It was
It was stamped.
on the 20.
Well, it was stamped on. It was signed on the 5th day and notarized on the 5th day of January 24. But the sheriff's stamp on there says that it was done in December of 23, and then it shows it was filed and entered in the clerk's office on this one on January 10th of 24. And the one you have in your hand doesn't have the stamp on it, and it's had some alterations done to it. And I brought that to the judge's attention in Baldwinsville. And I've showed it to a couple other attorneys, and they advised that I come down here and verify that that's an actual deed. Because there's definitely some
I
problems.
mean, I can say that this is definitely our timestamp
No, I know that
on
is.
here, and that is the sheriff's signature.
Right, well, here's the problem. I'm thinking is that they took this deed because, like I said, it has the prior owner's name on it. It's spelled wrong. It has the wrong date. It's got a full-size stamp. This one's got a small stamp. Now, if you take a look at it, it looks like they took the bottom of someone else's. How do I know this bottom part wasn't just photocopied on here? Because that's what it looks like happened.
Yeah, this is just a copy.
Right, and this is the one I got first, and when I complained about it being a small copy, this is the one I got, and it's now missing this
Yeah,
stamp.
I mean, typically, like, this is when we get these would be the size that they are.
Right.
You know, and I think that's just probably just where the clerk's office shrunk down.
Oh, now the clerk's office has, I went back to the clerk's office, and now they have a full-size one on file.
They do have one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Can you just verify that that's an actual sheriff's
Yeah,
deed?
I'm trying to find it. I mean, I can tell you this is, and this is the sheriff's signature.
No, I'm not doubting that, but it looks like it was photocopied on to because I have the original deed, and the dates are wrong, and the prior owner's name is wrong, so to me, that's a fraudulent document. I just need to verify that it was actually done here. Because, I mean, my other thing is how could you have a document stamped 2 weeks before it was produced? So if you produce a sheriff's deed and signed and notarized on the 5th, how could again that stamp on the bottom be dated January of 2023 if the document wasn't even produced until 2024? You see what I mean?
Yeah, I can tell you the date.
That makes no sense. Because I'm assuming that stamp would be stamped after the
Yeah, because
document.
we timestamp everything once we receive it. Once it comes in, we'll stamp it.
Right, so how could it go backwards and how could it be stamped in reverse?
Unless they just pre-filled that out up top. I don't know if that'll.
No, that says January 5th too. The only thing that says December 23 on it, 2023.
The sheriff signed this on January 5th. So the sheriff completed that up top. Because I have a note in here completed on January 5th, 24.
Can you print me out a copy of that to bring to my attorney?
It's just our notes in our system.
So there's nothing you can
I
print me
can't
out,
print it anything
validate
out
that?
on it, no.
So-
So to get a copy, you'd have to subpoena
No,
records.
that's fine. And how would it be stamped from the prior year though?
Because when we received it on December 20th, but the sheriff didn't actually sign it until January.
But how could you receive it before the document was even produced on the 5th day of January?
Well, this is the date the sheriff signed it.
Then how was it stamped?
Because he's signing it, so he's signing this here.
Okay.
So he filled in this here, the date that he signed it, January 5th.
Okay.
Well, technically, that probably should have been before.
Right, so there's a lot of mistakes on here, right?
Yeah, so this is,
So how did they get?
this was notarized on January 5th.
Then how did this one get, you see where, here what the problem is? This one got filed on the 10th, right?
So this was completed, went
Right.
back to the attorney, and
Right.
then they went to the county clerk's office and then filed it with the clerk's office after it was completed.
Right, and then in the meantime, someone altered it. Because this one, the one that was filed at the clerk's office, or how does that even happen? Because look at the one that was filed at the clerk's office has no alteration on it, and that was on the 11th. So which means someone altered the document that the sheriff signed afterwards. So someone altered the sheriff's document, so it shouldn't be valid. Because the one that was filed on January 10th of 2024, that is stamped right here, does not have that on there. I was served this a few weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, and they've altered this document here.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you have an attorney? You said you have one?
I have to go see one, but they advised I come down here and make sure this document is valid. And it's clearly, they altered it.
I see we have, that doesn't seem like that's on this one here.
So the one that you have in your system is also not altered, like the clerk's office.
Right, yeah, that's like dated February 11th, 2023. So it looks like they just changed the 3 to a 2.
Right.
Yeah, the one that's completed here, signed, that's not in there.
Right. So they've definitely altered this, which I believe is, there's a lot more mistakes in there too, because this is not the original. He signed a deed that says Janek. I have the original deed in my possession. Her name is Janelle.
Oh, okay.
So this was retyped up. It's not even the old deed. And why are the old owners on this deed? Why wouldn't it be me?
Yeah, we get these from, whoever the attorney is, typically, it's usually come from an attorney.
Is there any way I could sit down with the sheriff and show him some evidence of some fraud? I have.
I can't do that.
How would I go about? Because if not, I'm gonna have to put this stuff on Facebook and the deeds and all the fraudulent other activities that I've uncovered.
But this has nothing to do with the sheriff's department. So
You guys didn't do anything wrong, but what I want to make him aware of is that they've altered documents that he signed.
yeah, let me grab.
If you can, I've got a bunch of other evidence I'd like to share with him too.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm Lisa Dell. How are you?
How are you?
What's going on?
I've got a whole bunch. I was threatened by an attorney. His name's Anthony Germano. I don't know if you know him.
No.
Okay. I was threatened by.
That's me.
That's you? This document here. There's,
used to be the county clerk.
there's some issues with it.
Yeah.
And I've reported this to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I've reported it to attorney grievance. I've reported a lot of things, and I was advised I have to go see an attorney this week. And I spoke with the FBI last week, and I explained to them there's a whole bunch of things going on. I fired my attorney in 2022, and they went and they had a whole divorce without me.
Okay.
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 And then what happened is I thought I withdrew my petition, and I'm being evicted out of over a year later, I'm being evicted out of my own house. I got off the phone, spoke with a mortgage company just today. They said the deed is still very much in your name. It's not taken out of your name. The taxes are still in your name. The water bill, everything is still in your name. The attorney, Anthony Germano, was my ex-wife's attorney, and
Okay.
I adopted her daughter when she was, I've been raising her since she's 2.
Okay.
I adopted her when she was 7 years old, and I'm just now finding out that attorney Anthony Germano did a fraudulent adoption. He changed her name through the courts legally. Then part of the adoption process, he had a signed acknowledgement of paternity, and I've got text messages proving this. And where I questioned him on it, he said it's part of the adoption process. Don't worry about it. Years later, going through a divorce, in 2022, I find out that it's fraudulent. He took the acknowledgement of paternity and the court order from the judge, put them together and produce a fraudulent birth certificate. It's also being investigated by the Office of the Inspector General's office because my daughter has a birth certificate that says Orbino, and her social security number reflects the name Mantero, because my ex reported it to them saying that I'm on disability for a heart injury. Says that I was collecting fraudulent benefits. She was always registered as my stepdaughter, and every time I brought the new birth certificate, they never uploaded it into the system. Well, I was questioned by investigators from the Office of the Inspector General's office, and they told me to report it to grievance and report it to family court, which I've done, and nobody's doing nothing. I was also threatened by him that Shiano, his partner, Shiano's brother, works for the Sheriff's Department. I dare you to go down there because we're going to take your house, we're going to take your kids, and we're going to throw you in jail. And now I'm being told that you take that out of my own house.
So, you originally bought the house?
Yes.
Okay, so you're on the deed. Did you buy it by yourself or with
By
your
myself.
wife?
By myself. And she abandoned her family.
Let me just get a tissue.
Yeah.
You know, you have an open eviction too, you said?
Yeah.
With Baldwinsville? Because they typically, when like there's any challenge to it, you take it up with the court who issued it.
I did.
You know?
I took it up with the judge, and
So basically, what is this saying that,
it's saying that a
is the
property.
divorce final?
You got me because
Okay.
I got to.
So is that what this is doing?
Well, I got an order
Basically,
with
after the divorce,
signing-
signing.
Yeah, they're basically signing it over.
I've got an email also from Judge Cooner's office stating that they didn't authorize any sheriffs or sign any sheriff's deed. So that's another reason
Yeah,
why
I
I'm
don't know
skeptical.
how that works with, how is this produced?
This came in
From a court order?
from an attorney,
From an attorney?
Nancy Dyer.
Right, my ex-wife's one of her attorneys.
attorney?
Yeah, she's got the
So
whole
she
Monroe building after me.
Prepares the sheriff's deed?
Yep. There's a bunch of stuff that goes with it.
Oh, no, he, Kevin Keener. So Supreme Court judge ordered this, correct?
No, because I have an email from William Arnold saying that the judge did not sign this.
Yeah.
This.
So this
That's what it
is a,
says.
yeah, so this is a court order by Supreme Court Judge Kevin Keener to do or to have the sheriff's deed executed. So I would think your matrimonial case is in Supreme Court?
It was, yeah. And I
Was it-
withdrew my petition after I fired my attorney when I caught him lying.
Was
to
it
me.
before Judge Keener?
Well, it was before
you-
Judge Fogel at first, and then Anthony Germano threatened to have his good friend Kevin, which I don't believe his good friend
But
Kevin did
according
that.
to Deputy Kelly, you said this is fraudulent, or you said there was something altered on it?
Yeah, it's definitely altered because it was filed here on the clerk's office. And like I said, I've been told
What
that
was filed in the clerk's office?
I have one of these. The deed was filed in the clerk's office on January 10 of 2024.
Oh, yeah, let me see that.
They forgot to when they were altering it. They forgot to put that stamp back on here.
We received it on December 20th. The sheriff
Right.
signed it January 5th.
Right,
and then they
right.
filed it on the 10th.
Yeah.
There is an order in here too, signed, authorizing this.
Do you want a copy of this order?
I would like
Yes.
that very
Yeah,
much.
We'll get that for you.
And I was trying to explain to him that if you look on this one here,
Yeah.
I brought this to their attention. After I brought it to their attention, they've altered the sheriff's deed, and
Who altered it?
whoever served it, well, her attorney or Nancy Dyer, because you can see the one that was originally uploaded into the clerk's
Yeah, no.
says 2031, and they also
31,
spelled
yeah.
now they
Oh, yeah. Well, so what we'll do is, so we'll give you a copy of this, but what you should get is a certified copy of this order on file to show that it does say 2031. I don't know if you have any.
well what I do because
Recourse.
well they also this deed was supposedly just a deed that was on file that they transferred, correct?
So yes, this would supersede, we'll go in, I'll go into real property
Can I
and see.
print all this for him, or?
Yeah, print it. Yeah,
They
sure.
also spelled her name wrong. They spell her name Jeanette, and I have a copy of the original deed, and I have the title from Vanguard. They spelled her name when they were making this document here.
Yeah.
It says Jeanette Fortino. Her name is Janelle Fortino. So when they were trying to recreate this document,
Right.
they spelled her name wrong and they put the wrong date. If this was just a copy of the original deed, obviously they would have.
So we're gonna give you a copy of what was filed. This is not is this executed? Yeah.
There's a lot of things that aren't dated. Like this one right here should have a clerk stamp on
Did
it.
you notice, so I'm not sure how the processes this, but look at, this is not even, do they date it when the sheriff, so this
Signs it.
signs
So,
it?
yeah, so I have a note in here that the sheriff signed it on January 5th.
Okay.
It looks like his handwriting on it.
Oh, that's right, because they're making a new deed. Can I get into, can I just open up another browser?
Oh, yeah.
If they're making a new deed, why wouldn't they?
So that's the process, so this is, so I wanna see if this is recorded through Onondaga County Real Property.
It is, it says sheriff's, transferred sheriff's deed.
It does?
Yep.
I'm checking it. Okay,
No,
it
go ahead,
does.
give it a shot. I've had to forward this information, and I've been all over this. so.
Yeah, the only recourse you could have is getting back into court.
Do you have an ID on you?
I do. But they would have used the old deed. It looks like that's not the old deed, and they spelled her name wrong, and they've got the dates wrong.
That's what I'm saying, the only thing you can do is recourse through Supreme Court. I mean, unfortunately, we're not the court,
No,
obviously.
I understand. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to give anybody a hard time. I'm
Oh,
just
you're
trying
not, no, you're not, I didn't know if you were aware of the process, I'm sure you are.
I've uncovered a fraudulent adoption, and I've been threatened by 2 attorneys that I've recorded them.
What is it, 3 Pine Street?
Yes, Baldwinsville, 13027. I've uncovered this fraudulent adoption, and I was told if I spoke out publicly about it, that they would take my kids and my house, and
Oh
that's.
God, I hope it doesn't work that way, or I'm leaving.
I guess if
The
you speak,
county.
if you should see the evidence that I've got. I actually had a deputy come
Yeah,
out.
it does, it did record it, yeah.
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 I actually had a deputy come out and make a report of fraudulent adoption, and every time I call, nobody gets back to me. They say that it's a judicial matter, not a sheriff's matter. A fraudulent birth certificate. I've reported it to you guys.
Yeah, it kind of, I can understand why they're saying, and it's kind of a civil matter, so,
I've got that same order with no judge's signature on it. They emailed it to me with no judge's signature on it.
Yeah, I included the order from
Yeah,
Supreme
so
Court.
I have one.
Yeah,
It just
no.
there's no signature from a judge on my copy.
Yeah, this one has it.
this one has it.
And copy of all the paperwork that came with it, too. There's the deed.
And there's the, yeah.
See, in your deed too, it doesn't have
Oh, let me see. Yeah,
a. Now, how come yours doesn't have the stamp on there?
because we're not the Onondaga County Clerk's
Okay,
Office.
so okay, and then but this one here.
So
I did-
after this is executed, so after the sheriff signs this, it would be filed in the county clerk's office. So that's why the county clerk stamp is on after this one.
Gotcha. Okay,
Okay.
but wouldn't it be on this one right here? It should be on this one too.
No, well, I don't know where, no, this is,
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
the
where-
notaries. Notarizing on the 5th.
I would
Yeah,
think he
you
would
did
get.
you did this on the 5th of
No,
January.
but
right?
I would think he would get a fully executed and filed copy. But you obviously got a copy before it was even filed in the county clerk's office.
Yeah, typically it wouldn't go to him because it's from the attorney who would bring it to us.
Okay.
But this is
original
the one
goes
that I was. This should be one of the final ones done because
For the transaction, the deed
Well, this is-
transaction
this-
to be official,
this-
it would be the one filed in the county clerk's office.
right, and this one doesn't have a county clerk stamp on it.
No, so you should,
And it's been
So
altered.
you don't even have, yeah, you should get you should tell your attorney or get a certified copy from the county clerk's office of.
Oh, I did. This is the one.
Okay.
This is the one from. What is the copy of the one I got from the? And we found all the mistakes in it because this one has a stamp on it.
Yeah.
See, but this one doesn't. And this one right here, I'm still curious how
must
they
have
stamped
changed.
this.
I never had that
We,
stamp when I was trying.
we, this is the date we received it,
Yeah,
and then this was completed on the by the signature, because typically this is dependent on the sheriff's schedule, so he typically can't, we have to process.
Okay, because
it.
what I was under the assumption was
We
is
received it.
I was told that once the sheriff signs it, it gets stamped here and then filed.
That's in
No,
the clerk's office.
it goes to the clerk's office to be
But
filed.
this is your stamp.
Because we received it, because
Okay.
it's a
So
sheriff's
you
deed.
stamp
So we
as
get it
received?
first. Yeah, we get it first, we stamp it received. The sheriff executes it by signing it, dating it and signing it. It has to be
Okay.
notarized. I happen to notarize this one. And then for the official property transfer to be in effect, it has to be filed in the county clerk's office.
Okay.
So yeah, it seems like you've got a lot of different copies going on.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Which in a way shows that that was altered, that date.
It was definitely
It should have
altered.
been, corrected
And it was,
or
but that's the
filed.
thing, it was altered after the sheriff signed it, so.
That's why you have some recourse, but I think it's through civil court, which would be
Right, but wouldn't the
through
sheriff like to
Supreme
know
Court.
that there's a bunch of fraud going on and they're altering something that he signed? Because I would definitely like to speak to him on that. Because I have
Yeah.
other fraud about the attorney that I'd like to speak to him about. And every time I call or talk to someone about the report I made,
Right.
they blow me off. And they say Cheyeno's brother said no,
Yeah, well, I don't, yeah.
Supreme Court too, because the Supreme Court signed the original order.
But I have an email from the clerk of Kevin Cooner's, Judge Cooner's
Yeah.
court that says he didn't authorize a deed.
So we have a signed copy though.
Right.
So I would
Your
probably go to
recourse
Supreme Court.
is through Supreme Court with this. It really is.
Right, no, which is, it's all being, I mean, my resource is
Yeah.
the federal government because they're the ones that have been, they've been telling me what to go do.
I mean, I don't know the procedure, but if it was, if someone did change the date after the sheriff signed it and it was filed, yeah, you definitely have recourse to Supreme Court.
Right.
What they might do is just reissue another sheriff's deed, probably.
That's fine, it'll give more time to figure
Yeah.
out the rest of this fraud that's
Yeah.
going on, you know? Is
Yeah.
there someone I could speak with about the fraudulent adoption, that I reported? I reported it like back,
Did you report it, did you, did someone come to your house?
deputy came
Was
out to
it-
the house.
Do you know what the person's name was, the deputy's name?
I don't, I have I took a picture of the copy at home, but if you maybe pull up my last name, because one thing I wanted to change is they put my wrong phone number in there too. I tried to call and change that a couple times. I don't have the actual with me, but is there a way that you guys can look that up and see?
We can look up, the report and leave a message for the deputy. Obviously, the road deputies don't work out of headquarters.
Right.
So we'd have to track which station they work out of and leave a
Yeah,
message for them to contact you.
I should have brought that with me too. I wasn't even thinking, but trying to think of her name. But I've called a couple times because they're the
What's your first name again,
it's
sir?
Michael
And what's the last name?
Orbino, Orbino.
When did you report it? Do you remember?
Oh God, it was
Around
probably,
what year?
It was 23. That
Oh, okay.
It was, I think, the winter time.
Okay. I'll look it up and then we can send a message to the
Maybe
deputy.
take down my real phone number
Yeah.
too, because someone put the wrong
Yeah, I
phone
was
number.
just gonna ask you. Yes.
315
Yep,
396
yep.
3344.
Okay. We can look up the report and we can get a message to the deputy. Hopefully the deputy still works here. You know, people retire and.
Yeah, no, she was a younger girl.
Okay,
And she,
then she's probably still here.
and I've called a couple times to follow up on it, but nobody seems to
All right.
want to get back to me.
We'll get a
Like I
message
said,
to her to call
I
you.
just want you to know too that I was specifically threatened by this attorney. His
Okay.
name's Anthony Germano,
Okay,
and his partner is Jeff Cheyano.
okay.
And apparently Mr. Cheyano has a brother that's a sergeant here.
Yep.
And one of the threats was, if you open your mouth about this adoption, Cheyano's brother is going to throw your ass in jail. We're going to take your house and we're going to take your kids. And I'm going through a custody case in family court right now, and they're doing the same thing.
Well, you're not in jail, so that's a good thing. So it didn't
No,
come through.
no, but everything that's
I know.
I'm not the type that's I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna say I was
Right.
threatened by a man
Right.
who was using the Onondaga County Sheriff's Department to intimidate me.
Right.
So I definitely need to speak with someone about that. You can look up the deputy, but I'm gonna put this on Facebook and I'm gonna put it on YouTube, and I'm looking for is Onondaga County Sheriff's Department to say, hey, let's sit down and look at what this guy's got,
Right.
because I
And-
have a fraudulent adoption of fraudulent.
What you can
birth
do,
certificate.
because obviously we don't know call volume and who's available, you, at the comfort of your home, you can call the non-emergency number
Right.
to file a complaint and have someone come to your home. I don't know if you want to use the sheriff's department. You might want to use the state police.
Well, here's the thing. That's when I talked to when I reached
because
out
of
to
the
the
conflict.
FBI. They said, "Go to the state police."
Yeah.
I did that too,
Okay.
and I said, "This is what's going on," and they said, "You'd have to take it up because we're jurisdictional. It has to go through the county." I said, "Well," I said, and I'm not saying that Mr. Cheyano, Sergeant Cheyano,
Right.
would do that.
Right.
I'm not saying, "Oh yeah, he's the one doing this." I'm not saying that at
Right.
all. I'm saying an attorney
Right.
used his name to intimidate me, which I think the Sheriff Shelby would definitely like to sit down and maybe have a talk with me and look over the fraudulent evidence
Okay.
from Anthony Germano.
We can
So,
relay that message to the sheriff,
if you could, I would greatly like to speak to him because,
or he can designate someone to meet with you.
yeah, just not Cheyenne, if you don't mind. And I'm not saying that he would even. I don't even. You know what? I know I grew up with his wife, and I don't think that he's that type of man. But when I have an attorney threatening and saying, Cheyenne's brother's a sheriff, you know.
No, I understand. I
Judge
understand.
Cecil's husband is a chief of
Right,
police, and
right,
he's
right.
making these threats and accusations towards me. All I want to do is sit down with someone and say, here's this, I have some fraudulent
Let them know what's
activities,
going on, yeah.
and I've been threatened because, I mean, I don't have problems with anybody, and every time I see a sheriff's car, I'm like, you know, I'm not going to live like
No,
that.
I
I'm not, so
understand what you're
I
saying.
wanted to come down here
Okay.
and kind of speak to someone if I could. And I have a bunch of evidence about this Mr. Germano that needs to be looked into, that every time I call or make a report or try to follow up on the report, nobody wants to do anything.
Right.
And now it's turning into them evicting me from my house that the mortgage company says, you're paying the taxes, everything. Like, the deed has not been transferred. If it says it as in here, when you transfer a deed, and I bought plenty of homes, if you can look on the real property, you see I just sold one a couple years ago.
It is recorded.
It is, but why aren't the taxes in her name? Why isn't the water bill in her name? Because when you buy a
Were
house,
the taxes paid out of escrow or?
Yes.
Out of escrow?
out of escrow, and the mortgage company has no knowledge of this. So
Okay.
what I'm telling you is there's definitely they may have filed it down here, but it doesn't mean it's accurate because the deed is still very much in my name.
Okay.
You understand how like this is a very big mess? I definitely need to speak with someone.
Right. Well, for the issues with those documents and so forth, your recourse is Supreme Court.
Okay, and that's
It
fine.
is.
But with the other stuff, I definitely
Yes.
need to speak with someone because they're all kind of tied in together, if you will.
Okay.
So
Okay.
let's just say this is an accurate. If this house was granted to her in January, it's a 2-family house. The tenants next door still pay me rent.
Okay.
The water bill, the taxes, the mortgage.
Is there a final divorce decree or no?
You want to know what? I
don't
fired my attorney in 2022, and ever since then, I've emailed the courts a million times saying, if there's any orders or what's going on here,
So
please send
what
them.
you can do is you can go over to the county clerk's office, go back in the where the civil records are. If you
The
got an
divorce
ID on
records?
you, and ask for a copy.
I got them. I paid for them. I paid for
Okay.
all my divorce records.
Okay.
And
Is there anything?
Well, here's the thing. I
is there
fired my
anything
attorney.
from that 2022 year? Is there a final divorce decree between you and your wife? Did you
yes, but
receive
it was done in 23 without me,
Okay.
and
Okay.
without an
I
attorney.
understand that, but in the divorce decree, does it dictate any settlement?
It says that the
agreement?
house should be. I have an order that's not signed. It says that it was shoved in my mailbox. Wasn't even a stamp on it. It says
Okay.
the house must be sold.
Okay.
And then I had her attorney, had some real estate agent, putting stuff in my mailbox, putting these photocopied deeds in my mailbox.
Do you still live at the property?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you understand at 3 Pine Street, everything says it's my property.
Right.
When you transfer a deed into someone else's name, put it this way, if my ex could be collecting rent for my tenants next door, she would most certainly if she owned that property.
Okay.
She doesn't collect rent. She doesn't maintain the property or keep the house. If this was done in January, now we're 5 months into this. Why are the taxes and everything still in my name?
Because no one. I don't know. That's a good question. You could also call is it the town of Lysander and Village of Allensville?
Talk to them all.
Okay.
Everything's still very much in
It's
my
still
name.
in your name?
And I
Okay.
explained this to the eviction court. And I went into eviction court. I was the only one there. Me, her, and her
Well,
attorney.
the assessor or whoever takes the taxes, the tax receiver, or actually even the assessor, if you want to talk to the town assessor, should be aware of the process as to when there's a sheriff's deed for sale.
The town,
Okay,
the
'cause I
town
don't
of
know that
Lysander, Village of
process.
Ballensville, and
Yeah.
Van Buren. None of them
Yeah.
have any documentation of any
Well,
of
Van
this.
Buren, you're in the Lysander side.
Right, but I just figured I'd check there because why
Right.
not? Just
Yeah.
in case. But
Yeah,
none of them have any
I
record.
don't know the process of how names get switched on taxes when there's a sheriff's deed of sale. I'm not familiar with that.
It's the same way there any deed because if they executed this,
Okay.
everything would have been in her name as of January
Okay.
5th. So
So we'll relay the message about your concerns about the threats and using Sergeant Shiano's name and
I
if
was
someone.
actually coming out to his house.
Oh.
I have paperwork for him.
Oh yeah, I saved you a trip, huh?
Sorry.
What do you got now?
Yeah, so, well, this is actually this is the eviction warrant that the judge signed in court.
Correct.
So I'm just giving you the copy of it in case you didn't get a copy of it.
I got it in court.
Okay, so this actually has the sheriff's stamp on it with the vacate date, which is the same as the May 30th. that
Correct.
the
I'm
judge
I'm
signed.
aware this is probably real. So I mean I'm not saying I don't have
Okay.
any question of this.
Well, this, I'm just actually, like, officially giving you,
Okay, yeah.
serving you your copy, so.
All right.
Actually, I was gonna be heading out to your house in Baldwin in like the next 5 minutes, so.
I hope I didn't ruin your overtime.
No,
Mike,
it's
can I
regular
see
time.
those documents that I gave you? I want to show you. So, like, if you go over to Supreme Court, Oh, that little staple packet there.
Oh, that one?
So this was the actual order that the judge signed. I know you said you didn't have a signed copy. So show this to them. So it's signed, was signed that date. And this is all the paperwork that went with it. The completed paperwork. And then near the end is that one sheriff's deed here. So show that to them.
Show that to
Because-
the, what you said,
To the Supreme Court. Because this is all from the judge, so this is the judge's order directing it.
And like I said, I do have an email stating that the judge never signed that order.
Okay, then I would present this to them and explain, kind of what you explained to us too, and I would even show them that too.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Okay.
The thing is that they don't listen. But I don't speak directly to the judge, so I'm gonna put this on YouTube. I've got a guy who shares my stuff. He's got millions of viewers, so I gotta put it out there for the people to see it, because I've emailed the courts a million times, and he says the judge didn't sign that. And I said, how did you guys have a divorce without me?
I mean, see, we have the signed copy, so if they're saying they didn't, but
I can promise you I have an email. I even got a printed out copy of my Jeep, I believe.
order on motion.
I don't believe he. How do you have a divorce?
Well, if you say that to them too, say, hey, you guys told me that it wasn't signed, but now the sheriff's department gave me
I have a copy
that
that was shoved in my mailbox that wasn't signed.
wasn't
believe it
signed,
or not. I'm concerned too, mostly with speaking with the sheriff about and showing, presenting the evidence. Is there an email I could send to secretary or someone?
I mean, she's gonna relay the message to them, so I
understand.
can't give out the sheriff's email.
No, I don't want his direct email. I wasn't sure if there was one, as secretary, she could view it and forward it to him, because I take threats like this serious, especially when they're coming true.
Mm-hmm.
Put yourself in my shoes. I fired an attorney in 2022. Over 2023, in the beginning of 2024, they had a divorce without me, without representation, never invited to a court date, not even to represent myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing I know, I'm being told they're going to take my house away from me. So what happens on the 23rd? I'm first of all, I'm disabled.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she gives me 3 weeks to get out of a house that's mine, and that the deed and everybody is still saying to my name, tax-wise, everybody. Except for this. You guys come to my house, and then what?
Yeah, if they want us to enforce it, then we have to. It's because it's signed by a judge, just like this one, signed by a judge, and so is this. So basically, the only people that can kind of stop this would be the courts. So like this one here would be Baldwinsville Village. So we would have to get direction from the court, basically, to stop it.
Right,
And then this one, Supreme Court, so we need direction from Supreme Court.
Correct.
No.
So what happens on the 30th? When I'm disabled and I can't move myself, and I've contacted movers, and everybody's like, we're backed out, we're weeks out. I get 3 weeks to be evicted out of your house.
I know. Yeah. And my law is 14 days now, so that's typically why it's pushed out. But
One way or another, we'll get it on the news at least, right?
yeah, we don't do that. But
Well, no, I'm
it's-
just saying.
yeah,
if someone's going to have to listen about Anthony Germano and the threats that he's made, because I know you guys are just doing what you have court ordered by a judge.
Yeah.
But it's the attorneys that are behind the scenes
Right.
that are doing all these.
Well, because
Breaking all the
like
laws.
this stems from this, so
Right.
I'd probably start with Supreme Court and
Listen,
show them
I've
this.
been going to the Supreme Court for a year. I've been emailing them everything, calling, emailing, you name it, and saying, hey, how did this happen? How was there an order done? I don't have an attorney. I have an email saying I withdraw my petition until I could find.
Mm-hmm.
I have my attorney, my former attorney, recorded. I sent this to the courts, lying to me, threatening me, and then the kicker is, I lied to him and scared him, and he confessed everything about Anthony Germano, about the family courts, about all this stuff that they were planning on doing to me. So I have it recorded, which is all going to go on Facebook too. When you guys come to take me out of my house, I'm going to make sure it's been posted long before that.
But you got to understand, on our side, we have court orders that we.
Listen, you
unless the court
guys are
says
doing your job. I'm not
to,
saying you
but
guys are doing anything wrong here.
This one too, especially if they're saying they don't have it. Well, we got a copy of it that says it does. So.
Well, I got an email that says completely different, but I'm gonna, and I'll print that off. But I would really like to talk to someone. I know she's gonna relay the message, but is he gonna get back to me? Is it just gonna get blown off? Am I gonna be?
Do you have an email you want me to give to her to include with it?
leave out, or?
If he can just call me and verify that she spoke with him, or
So you want to call back? I'll tell her then.
I'll give her my email when she calls. It's just I would rather speak to someone in person. I would rather sit down with the deputy or an actual investigator, because one of the investigators told me the statute of limitations up. I talked to a federal agent and they said,
Do you want? I'm trying to think. So it's with our agency. Do you want the number for internal affairs?
Yeah, I'll take that too. I'll give that a shot. I've reported, this was brought to my attention by the fraudulent birth certificate by Social Security Administration, OIG, and I've spoken with, are they out of this building here?
Yes.
Okay, is there anybody here I could speak with?
You'd actually
Have to
have
call?
to. Yeah, it's best to do that with them because they're in and out. Make an appointment.
No problem. So should I expect a phone call back from Mrs. Dell or the sheriff or somebody?
I can check with her. I don't know. I know they have meetings today.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't expect it to be today,
But I'd probably check that with Supreme Court though, because like I said, because the only thing that can stop it is the court.
Right.
So, because it's an order signed by the judge.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. It is what it is. I'm not gonna let this guy threaten me when we use the sheriff's department. I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna tell you this happened, and I would assume if, and I can prove this. I mean, I would assume if I came down here and said, listen, there's an attorney. I've got fraudulent documents here. He's committed federal crimes that I've reported. He's using the sheriff's department and his friends and people he knows his name.
That would be that number.
To intimidate.
That's a good number to call on for that.
Okay.
I
appreciate your time.
They can look into it.
I'm sorry to take up so much of your time. I'm just trying to figure this out.
No, I get you.
Doing what I was told
you're
to
fine,
do.
100%.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.
Yep, have a great day. And thank Mrs. Dell for me.
Will do.
Thank you.